Happy Juneteenth, friends. Today, June 19th, 1865, was the day when Union generals and soldiers made their way to Galveston, Texas, and read Field Order Number 3, which told enslaved people, we were not slaves, which told enslaved people that by decree of the President Abraham Lincoln, they had been freed. Because, of course, white folks of that time, the masters, were not going to give up their capitalistic cash cow, which was free labor. So, of course, they were not going to tell anybody that were enslaved people that 2 years prior that they had already been freed. And so it was then incumbent upon those persons to put down their shovels and to walk away from those plows and tell them white folks they go to hell. We've always been fighting in this country. We've always been a people who, we weren't laying down. Anyway, needless to say, wanted to take a moment just to come on and reflect, especially thinking about what Black people should be doing today and thinking about today, and how a couple of things, how we should really be thinking about and commemorating Juneteenth. Not from the perspective of capitalism, not from the perspective of spending money at these white establishments, but how should we be thinking about it? That we most certainly should be honoring and giving thanks for and giving thanks to our ancestors for having the wherewithal and the gumption to say we ain't gonna just sit around and take this shit. That we are going to be fighters and we're gonna fight. We should most certainly be supporting Black businesses today. We most certainly, I think, should be educating ourselves, especially around what are the traditions and what are the culturalistic types of things that our ancestors gave us that we should be carrying forward and doing as we continue the fight for freedom in this country. Things such as the drinking of the red drink, and what does that mean, and why it is so important. The fact that that literally came from Africa. It came from the western coast of Africa, and why we steep ourselves in things like hibiscus, the red drinks and the hibiscus teas and all of that kind of stuff. So reading and understanding who we are as a people, who we came from, like really I think if we really understood where we came from and who we came from, we would stop with this foolishness around we are not our ancestors. Because in most aspects, we aren't, because we're not doing half of the shit that our ancestors would be doing. Our ancestors burnt down buildings and revolted. So yeah, no, you're not your ancestor. You ain't doing nothing but trying to integrate yourself into this goddamn capitalistic society. But that's neither here nor there. So, as we reflect on Juneteenth, I think that this is probably a time that we should really be asserting ourselves into our history and into our own state of being and our own knowledge and understanding who we are, so that we can be preparing ourselves for the next level of the continued fight. Because clearly, 250 years later, much, much longer than 250 years. More like 400 or 500 years of slavery on these lands. They are still working to take us out. Yet they are still not succeeding in doing so. So what does that say about the DNA of black folks, of the African stolen away to America, who then became the African in America, or the black American? Because, yeah, we are African. I don't know why all these diaspora wars and all this foolishness that we find ourselves engaging in, which is only taking away from the battle that is to come and who we should be fighting and how we should be preparing ourselves intellectually and every other way to fight those battles. Yeah. Anyway, just some thoughts. Rainy day. It's Juneteenth. I'm going to re-immerse myself back in the books that I was reading before I jumped on here. Happy Juneteenth. Let's get to that knowledge.